Welcome to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show. I'm Kevin Lawrence in studio with Dr. Gary Lawrence. Yes, he is my dad. We are a father and son team dedicated to helping you create your new financial future today. See, Dr. G and I believe wholeheartedly there is a solution to your situation. So as you listen, we hope that you will be entertained, educated, and at least encouraged. So glad to have you with us today. So a recent article in Forbes magazine listed the top 4 investments that you absolutely have to make this year. The top 4 investments to make. And of the 4, 2 of them are real estate and yourself. See, these 2 things are exactly what Dr. G and I are about. We're about real estate and we're about you. So starting with real estate, as our listener, and by the way, thank you for listening and being part of our audience, you will hear from us and our guests how time and again real estate proves to be the most effective investment tool to build wealth over time. Then we encourage you. See, you have been endowed by God to grow, improve, develop yourself. You have choices to create a better, brighter future. So investing in yourself will pay unlimited dividends. Dad, when a person combines the learning how to develop the gifts and skills God's given them, along with learning real estate investing and entrepreneurship, amazing things happen.
Well, absolutely, Kevin. And you know what's unfortunate is, and I want to say this with a loving spirit, not a critical spirit, the vast majority of Christian people, and non-Christian people for that fact, really don't have a positive self-image. Mm-hmm. And they don't understand how much that God really loves them and how much He cares for them. And even though they go to church Sunday after Sunday after Sunday and they're involved in religious activities, very few people ever come to the place where they understand that God loves them unconditionally. Mm-hmm. And so many people, I'm saying this for the purpose of helping people understand, many people, because of their past failures, continue to beat themselves up over those past failures.
Right.
But, you know, just because a person has failed doesn't mean they're a failure.
Yes.
You know, and I say it like this, if you want to succeed, all you have to do is fail. And then fail some more, and then fail some more, and keep on failing until success breaks through. And here's why. You're not a failure because you have failed. You only become a failure if you allow failing to become the last chapter of the book you're writing.
Yes.
And so I want to reach out to our audiences today and ask them this question. Have you written the last chapter of your book? And, of course, you know, I've shared my story for almost 9 years now, reaching out to the Christian community, how your mother and I had a very successful Christian marriage and family counseling clinic for 25 years, retired when I was 59. We found out we'd lost 65% of our retirement portfolio in the stock crash. For the next 5 years, we lived on what we had left. And in 2009, when I was 64, our money ran out. I had no more cash, no more savings. My credit was maxed out. We went through bankruptcy and foreclosure. And boy, I'll tell you what, those circumstances really made me feel like I was a failure. Mm-hmm. But I had to come to grips with the reality that even though I was 64, life wasn't over yet.
You hadn't written the last chapter of your book.
I hadn't written the last chapter of my book. And that's when I was introduced to Renatus. And what is Renatus? Well, it's the premier real estate investing education service in America. And I decided, even though I knew nothing about real estate, the only thing I knew about real estate was how to send in a monthly mortgage payment to the bank.
Right.
And I did that for 18 years.
And you were good at that, weren't you?
I was good at that. I was always on time. And I never did get a thank you note from the bank.
Oh, no, of course not. Yeah.
But anyway, so I decided I'm going to re-educate myself. And I'm going to learn how to become a successful real estate investor. And the rest is history.
So you took learning real estate investing strategies, entrepreneurship with your positive self-image and healthy growth,
right,
and combined them, and amazing happened. Here you are, 9 years later, reaching out to our audience.
73 years old and still going.
Still
Isn't
making
that exciting?
It happen. It is.
And to help you and I reach our audience with the possibilities and the probabilities of them learning how to become a successful real estate investor, we have live in the studio a young 32-year-old entrepreneur.
Oh, 32, man.
32.
I'm a
I
little
know.
mad about that.
He's, well, let's not even go there, okay? ZACH OEHLMAN. And, hey, we're fellow Hoosiers.
Yes.
He was born and raised in a town in northwest Indiana. And he graduated from Indiana University with a double major in finance and business administration.
Wow.
Now, this was back in 2008 when he graduated. At that time, he sent out 3,500 resumes to find a job. And eventually, he ended up working as a valuation analyst at a small firm. Wait a minute, what in the world is a valuation analyst, okay?
I want to know how you track 3,500 resumes. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, exactly, 3,500.
3,000 resumes. That's a lot.
That's rejection personified, isn't it?
Man.
Here's what he says. I loved the job, but I hated working in an office for someone else. I wanted to live life on my own terms. And that's when he was introduced to Renatus. And it was about 2012, almost 2013. And he's one of the upcoming leaders on a nationwide level with Renatus. And today he invests in rentals, fix and flips, apartments, contract for deeds, lease options, subject tos, and other creative strategies. He is a full-time, full-blown real estate investor at the age of 32. Zach, what a joy to have you in the studio today.
It is my pleasure. Thank you guys so much. So,
Yeah, man. And I say that I'm a little mad because you're 32. I joke. But, I mean, yeah, Dr. G started when he was 64, and
Right.
thank God he did when he was young. So he's had all these years to build. But we just think, Zach, back, and I'm older than you, much younger than my dad, but older than you. And we just think about, wow, if we had this information and this content at your age, how much different life could be. So that's why we say that.
when I went to my first meeting, I was 27, and there was a 22-year-old young man up there making $10,000 a month in residual income traveling the world.
Wow.
And that's what I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah. So it was that. I mean, you went to one of the events, found out about Renatus, and you saw that, and that just went, oh, man.
Right.
I'm just curious. I mean, you were a financial analyst.
Yeah.
You were getting good pay for that position,
I was
right?
making 6 figures a year and had every type of insurance you could think of.
All the benefits, 401k,
Health,
everything.
dental,
Health, yeah.
vision, life insurance,
6 figures.
big bonuses.
But you weren't happy.
I wasn't happy.
Why?
I was the industry I was in was very competitive. So to stay ahead of everyone, you had to really put your time in, per se, and it was all knowledge. And I put all my time in it. I didn't have a girlfriend. I everything I put on hold so I could be successful in my job, and I was very good at it. And I wanted to move up, and I was told, "Well, you're very good at what you do, Zach. You just don't have enough gray hairs." And
You got to be kidding me. You want to borrow some of mine?
and I understood what they were saying because we were working with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars of worth of stuff, and when you put a young man like myself at the time across the desk from somebody, they want to see some age and experience. So I understood it, and at the same time I saw people in the office that were doing it their whole life, and they just same thing their whole life, 60, 70, 80 hours a week.
And that's all they had to look forward to.
That's all they had to look forward to. And I remember I told myself, I'm putting all this work in, and I said, for what? I said for 2 weeks a year.
Yeah.
So for 2 weeks a year, I get to potentially do what I want because I'm still going to have all this stuff.
And you still have to ask for that time.
So I have to ask for it.
Yeah.
And I go, that's not what, it just was like, I got to my dream job doing what I wanted. It took me about 9 years to get where I wanted. And I got there, and it was just, I expected to be way happier. I'm like, all right, I made it. And then I get there, and like 3 months in, I'm like, oh, this is it.
3 months. It only took you 90 days to go. This is not where I want to be.
Yeah, well, I was at another firm for 2 years, but
Okay.
I eventually got a job for the leading company in the world, the guys that literally wrote the book on it, and I got to work next to them, and they're amazing people. I got to learn so much, and at the same time, it was just, I think it's who I am as a person. I just want to be free and in control of my life,
Yeah.
and not told what to do.
Kevin, I remember when you and Lori decided, when you got married, she used to work in title and escrow, and she was very successful.
Yes.
And she made good money.
Yes. 6 figures. Easy.
But
Yeah.
she married you.
Yes, that was her best decision. Seriously. I'm just kidding.
It was somewhere there, just briefly after you got married, you decided that she's not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
She's going to be a stay-at-home mom.
Well, I didn't decide that. We decided it together.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah, us together.
But anyway, I asked her, I said, Lori, what was the biggest challenge you faced when you finally walked away from that job? Mm-hmm. And just instantaneously, she said, my addiction to the paycheck. Mm. And there is an addiction to that weekly paycheck or that bi-monthly paycheck, isn't there?
Absolutely. I remember, I grew up in a small town, and when I sent out those 3,500 resumes and how I tracked them, I hired a service.
Oh, okay. All right. You had to.
What I did was I was doing, 2008, a degree in finance, and all these jobs are available for a guy with no experience, So.
Right.
You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and our special guest is ZACH OEHLMAN from right here in Phoenix, Arizona, 32-year-old entrepreneur. And it's just a joy to have him live in the studio with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and I are hosting another investor business forum this week right here in the Valley. What is a business forum? Well, it's a gathering of men and women just like yourself from all parts of the Valley, and you're going to be our personal guest. I'm extending this invitation to you to be mine and Kevin's personal guest at our business forum. And we're just going to get acquainted with each other. You're not going to buy anything. Leave your checkbook and credit cards at home. You're going to learn about Renatus, the premier real estate investing education service in America. You're going to learn about real estate investing as it is in Arizona today. You're going to open up the door to the possibilities and probabilities of what you can create if you are at the place in your life where you know it's time you make a change. And I got to tell you this, change when left to chance will give birth to more conflict. You've got to plan the changes you want to see happen. But anyway, if you'd like to be my guest, you're going to have to call. And by the way, when you call, you will get my voice message. So for your sake, leave a message with your name and phone number so I can call you back. Are you ready to write down the number? Here it is. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. ZACH OEHLMAN is live in the studio. And Zach, you've been on a journey, but you're only 32 years old. Tell us what you've accomplished. Just kind of give us a brief overview of what you've accomplished since you got involved with Renatus Education Service on real estate investing.
Well, when I first started, it was in Chicago, and I started working with a guy by the name of Randy Pertler. We were working with a hedge fund that was raising all types of capital throughout the world, and they wanted to invest it in real estate properties. Mm-hmm. But they didn't have the team on the ground. So we were actually the team on the ground, and we were doing a lot of deals. We were finding the properties, fixing them up, putting tenants in place, and then selling them as turnkey rentals to this hedge fund. And I learned so much experience doing that. And a little while into it, maybe about a year and a half into it, the hedge fund sold. And I had a couple of properties, and I said, well, I got everything in place. I have the team, I have the systems, I have the process. The only thing I need is long-term capital to finance these things. So I went and I found somebody that would do that, and then I just started buying rental properties, single-family rental properties with none of my own money, and that cash flowed $400 to $600 a piece and had about 20 to 30% equity in them, and then I could refinance them out and pay off my private investors and have no money in the deals. Mm-hmm. And that was super exciting for me, and that's how I was able to quit my job.
Well, now let me stop you right here, because I know there's some people listening to us right now. They're saying, "Oh, that sounds like it's a scam. How in the world can you do real estate investing with none of your own money and none of your own credit?"
Yeah, so I hear that all the time. That, you have these infomercials out there say you can do real estate with no money, no credit.
Yeah.
What they don't understand is there's always money involved.
Just maybe not your money, but there's money involved. Yeah,
it doesn't have to be your money. And how I would answer that is there's people out there with money that would be really happy with an 8 to 12% return on something.
Absolutely.
That's something that's tangible, insurable, and you're getting it to 70, 60, 70% on the dollar. So where if we don't make the payment, they get the house.
Right.
So that's how we're
So
able.
so their investment is secured by the real estate itself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and we learn these strategies, right? I mean, did they teach this to you in university with your double major?
Absolutely not.
Whoa, hold on a second. Indiana University is a prestigious institution, no doubt. Okay?
I love it, yeah.
And if nothing else, at least it's infamous for Bobby Knight years, okay? So, I mean, people, we know IU. And you get a double major in what again?
Finance and business administration.
Finance and business administration.
No, wait a minute. Finance and business administration, but they never taught you anything about how to be a successful real estate investor.
They did not.
And that's where the security really is.
I remember I had an amazing mentor. I wouldn't be here without him. He was the head of finance, and he was so influential in my life. And we talked a lot about this. And I never knew how to make money. I knew how to I knew finance, and I was very good at that, but I never knew how to make money until I joined Renatus.
I laugh. I don't mean to, but we hear that so often, don't we, Dad? I mean, people go to college, work hard, get a good job, get a degree. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. We're not down on that. I mean, that works. But there was something you said earlier today, Zach, that you said, I wanted to be able to chart my own path.
Right.
Not everyone wants that.
Correct.
As you've noticed, right? Some people are happy with 70 to 80 hours per week grind, the 40-40-40 plan, work 40 hours a week for 40 years to retire on 40% less than what you earned when you were working. That's where most people are. But you said, I want something different, but you really didn't learn about wealth creation until after you got out of college.
Right.
And so what you're saying, I caught you, what you just said, you really didn't start making money until you became a real estate investor.
Yeah, I was making six figures a year, and I was broke.
Yeah, there you go. Broke on a higher level.
How do you do that? How do you make, six figures a year?
When I started off, I was making $25,000 living in Chicago.
Right.
And that wasn't enough to pay bills. And, so I had some debt, and then you move up, work hard, move up, work hard. And then half of it goes to taxes when you're a single man.
Oh, I know. You guys get killed. Single.
No kids.
Yeah, no kids, no house, no nothing.
And then, I didn't even know about the stuff I know now about taxes that I learned.
Right.
So you incorporate that. And then, living in Chicago with college student loans and things like that. And and at the same time, I was spending money to, because I wasn't really happy. I wasn't really fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you go and you buy stuff and
make you happy, feel good. Got to get away for the weekend.
Yeah.
Buy some new clothes, buy a new toy, buy a new thing.
$100 here, $200 there, and it adds up.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, one of our local team members, Dave Jaquist, just did a deal about 6 months ago on a property, and the lady who owned the property was 73 years old, and she still had a college student loan. Yeah. I mean, those college student loans, they follow you around like a pet. I mean, they're going to be there most of your life. It's that simple, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people, I know there's a lot of people that still have student loans, and the challenge around that is, it doesn't go away.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah, and you think about it, the student loan, when you file bankruptcy, because I'll admit it on live radio here, I've been through bankruptcy, foreclosure. But when you go through bankruptcy, the only thing you can't throw in there is your student loan. Now think about that. Stop and think about what the government has created that says, no, we're still getting ours. No matter what happens in your personal life, you still have to pay that loan and that interest. It's the only loan you can't throw in your bankruptcy.
I met two pharmacists that went to school in Chicago. They came out here. One of them got a job, and combined they had $500,000 for the student loans. And they came to a Velocity Banking presentation, and they were just like, I got to learn this because I have so much debt.
Yeah.
And then I asked him what their maximum salary was, and he goes, well, we'll probably tap out on about 125, 150 at the most. And being they were married, but both didn't have a kid, so I'm like, call that 40%, and that's going to go to taxes. So you're right.
Yeah.
So it was just a huge mountain to overcome.
People it's like Bob Snyder, our CEO of Renatus, says, it's not that these strategies it's not that they're new, they're just not well known.
Correct. Yeah.
And then I thought that was a great way to say it, because these tax and legal strategies, someone can be a high six-figure income earner, still have a business to take advantage of their taxes,
Absolutely.
tax benefits to minimize what they're paying in taxes and eliminate debt in short order if they understood the right strategies.
And here's ZACH OEHLMAN's story in a nutshell. About 6 years ago, you decided, I'm going to stop working for the other man, and I'm going to chart my own course. Was that frightening?
Very. It was very. And I wanted to do it since I was 18 years old. And I just didn't know how. I talked to people, and they said, go to college, and I don't regret that. I learned a lot. But it was a heck of a lot scarier being around people in the Renatus community, because there's, I'll be very honest.
And Zach, I tell everybody, I am so blessed to be part of the Renatus community of real estate investors, because they're so positive and proactive. They're a team of winners, and we're in over 36 cities nationwide now. And we are the leading real estate investing education service in America. And I've been with Renatus now for almost 8 years. And I got to tell you, Bob Snyder, our CEO and founder, is the one man that I have had the opportunity to really respect and honor, because he has kept 100% of his commitments. He's just an honorable man, isn't he?
He is.
I'm going to ask you this question. What kind of an annual salary would someone have to offer you to go to work for them and give your freedom up and give everything you've accomplished in real estate
This
up?
isn't a leading question, is it?
I was thinking about that the other day, actually, and I talked to a lot of people that obviously want to quit their job, and I was thinking, I don't think I would. I mean, I don't think there's a number, because my freedom is so important to me to be able to do that.
Kevin, I want our audience to understand that ZACH OEHLMAN's just an easygoing, laid-back, quiet personality. He's not one of these in-your-face type of people. He's a planner. He's an analyst. He's a thinker. He works through the formulas. He understands how to do the numbers, and that's all part of the Renatus education, isn't it?
Yeah, I learned a majority of what I know through the Renatus education.
I've learned everything I know about real estate through the Renatus education. And what is Renatus? Well, it's a Latin term for rebirth. And I'll tell you, when I was 64 years old, going through bankruptcy, my wife and I needed to be rebirthed financially. Tell us your girlfriend's name.
Her name is Sumari Centeno Leon.
Okay, and she's from where?
Good luck saying that, Dr. G.
Puerto Rico.
Samari, right?
Sumari. Yeah.
See, I got that. She's from Puerto Rico. Now, how did you meet her?
I met her on a trip I took to Puerto Rico a little over a year ago. That was always my dream, to travel. And I went to Puerto Rico, and we just met. And, she was living down there. I was living up here. And Hurricane Maria came, and she lost everything. And I said, why don't you come up here?
Wow.
And, I was scared to death of a relationship like that, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Awesome, man. Good.
Yes, I met her. She's quite a fine young lady.
Thank you.
She is.
God has blessed you, hasn't he?
Very blessed.
Yes.
Very blessed.
32 years old, 33 rentals.
And it was real estate that made that possible for you to travel to even meet her.
Yeah, totally.
See? It's all on real estate.
All comes back.
How long were you in Puerto Rico?
About a week.
About a week.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you didn't have to ask anyone's permission to take that time.
Absolutely not. It was so freeing.
Zach has got a very humble spirit about himself.
He does, yes.
He's not beating on his chest like Tarzan saying, look at me, look what I've done. And that's the thing I love about our Renatus family of real estate investors. I don't know anybody that has a spirit of pridefulness or haughtiness. They all have a genuine spirit of servitude and gratitude. What can I do to serve you? Have you seen that as a common persona for the people in Renatus nationwide?
I saw it from the moment I walked in, and that's why I've continued to stay here. That's why, the majority of people I hang around are Renatus family, as we call it. And it's just because they're always building you up. And, what you said, Kevin, earlier about opening up in comparison.
Yeah.
The majority of people I hang around, I want to be around people that are building me up. And when I come into a Renatus office or a Renatus community, it's they're always pushing me beyond my beliefs. And when I first joined, I wasn't used to that. I came from a very competitive background of corporate America where everyone was fighting for the same position. And so it's a blessing to be in such a great community.
There was competition instead of cooperation.
Absolutely.
And so, and Zach, earlier this week, you talked about there was a level of arrogance when you first started that you had.
It was me.
When you first started with Renatus, and that has diminished over time.
Yeah.
But you were in that environment that fostered that type of arrogance and competitiveness and so on. So coming out of university and being as educated as you are and double major, degreed, experience, and you're into this real estate investing education service. I mean, come on, Zach, really. I mean, what kind of level of quality of education can you really have when you're trying to flip a house? I mean, you can just watch the shows on TV and learn how to flip a house, right? I mean, it can't be that hard.
I mean, I guess you could. The question is, are you going to make money?
So in what I'm doing is I'm leading you up to take a few minutes here and share with our audience kind of this comparing this education. I mean, is it really as quality? I mean, when we think of college and university, we esteem that in our culture.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's a very on a pedestal.
Yeah, it's on a pedestal. But this real estate investing education stuff, man, I mean, come on. You can go to 3-day boot camp and learn this stuff, right?
Well, I'll just tell you my experience of it. When I graduated college, I went to an amazing university. I knew a lot, and I couldn't find a job, right? And I didn't know what to do. Today, you could take everything away from me, and I would be able to make money and survive. And that's because of what I learned through the Renatus education, just being around the Renatus community. Mm-hmm. And, I think you have to define education. Because when I first got started, I defined education as college.
Right.
And that was the only thing that was in my mind. And now today, the way I define education is, I can learn. I'm learning on this talk or on this radio program right now. I can learn from a guy at Starbucks. You can get educated if you're willing to open your mind and let the information come in.
Okay.
And, the Renatus education is you're learning from people that have actually done it. Right, you're.
Now what we have 27 instructors now. Is that right?
Yeah, 27.
And every one of them are practicing real estate investors.
Right.
That's what they do for a living.
So that means the person teaching the class has done the very thing they're teaching and been successful with it.
And has had to make $1 million in the corresponding field, from my understanding.
Right.
Yeah. That they had to. So when you were in university, Zach, were some of your professors? Did you have an idea, kind of like they, or teaching from theory and had no practical application to what they're teaching?
Yeah, I was very blessed in the fact that a lot of my professors were, before they came in, did a lot of private sector work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I remember this. I used the same book at Indiana University as they did at the Chicago Booth School of Business.
Okay.
And I was like, well, what are they? Why is it so expensive to go there? And it's so cheap to go here. I'm using the same book.
Right. Yeah.
And that's when it really hit me. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's information.
Yeah.
And am I going to pay $30,000, $40,000 a year to get it? Or am I going to pay, I went to a Indiana University satellite campus. So it was like, $3,000 a semester.
Yeah.
And I was using the same book.
Information.
Yeah.
Man.
And information is information.
Yeah.
It's just
And
how
when you came out of college, what was your student debt load?
I was very blessed. It was about $30,000-$40,000.
Okay.
Just 30 to 40,000.
Yeah.
But now stop and think about
But you
that.
were blessed. No, you say that sincerely
blessed.
because you only had 30 or 40 grand after 4 years at IU. Come on, that's could be a couple hundred, right?
Yeah.
Close to
I know
100.
people that graduate $100,000 in debt. Yeah.
Now, here you are about 4 years later as a real estate investor. How much student loan debt do you have with Renatus?
None.
Can't compare it. None.
I mean, stop and think about that.
Right. Totally.
When people get through our education system, they're not in debt.
Right.
No.
They are positioned to create solid financial security, aren't they?
Absolutely.
You said the biggest challenge you had in front of you was you had to learn how to get out of your own way. Would you take that thought and speak from your heart to the heart of our audience how they can get out of their own way?
So how I would explain, I was asking for an opportunity. I kept going. In my mind, I would have a conversation with myself. I I want freedom. I want to be able to travel. I want more money. All these things I want. And I had it right in front of me. My friend kept asking me to come down to a meeting. Hey, you got to meet these investors. We're doing this real estate. We're doing that. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm over here. And to answer that question, I would say just be present. Be present to what you ask for, and be present to what shows up in the world, because you're going to get it. It just may not be in the exact shape or form that you think it may come.
Now, you've been to our business forums before. You've been to Chicago. You've had your own events. Tell our audience what they're going to experience if they accept my invitation to be my guest at our business forum.
Well, first off, I would say accept it, because Dr. G and Kevin are amazing. So when you walk in, from the instant you walk in, you're just going to be greeted with amazing people that are interested in your success. They're there for you. These guys are servant leaders, and they want, if you're willing to accept their help, they're willing to put their hand out. So you're going to get to experience what it is you're going to get to experience community. Community. Yeah. Trying to explain community is trying to explain balance, right?
Yeah, right.
You don't know it until you feel it.
Yeah, right. A good way to explain that. Yeah.
So when you come in, you're going to feel community and get to see exactly what it is that we have to offer, and you're going to get just to meet amazing people that are committed to your success.
Zach, thank you for being our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, the truth is, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you've gotten. Nothing's going to change. And I've said it many times, repetition is the greatest teacher, or it's the greatest torture. Are you going to keep repeating the cycle that you're in life? You don't have to do that. Give me a call. I would love to meet you personally. I say it all the time. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Let me open up the door to your possibilities and probabilities of how you can change your financial future. Why? Change, when left to chance, gives birth to conflict. You don't have to take a chance, but I want you to know this. If you don't change, things will never change. And the only thing that won't change is the fact that things will change. Are you aware of the fact that success is not a destination? It's nothing more than a journey. Are you enjoying the journey? You can succeed. All that's given to anyone is given to you. Now listen very carefully. Success is never final, but failure is never fatal. An investment in knowledge will pay you the best return on your investment. You're full of the power of success. Why do I say this? Because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I'm Dr. G, and I want you to create success. Why not start today?
It's been said, the best way to predict your future is to create it. No matter your circumstances, there is a solution to your situation. Dr. G and Kevin invite you to explore the possibilities of creating a new financial platform that you control, and no longer allow yourself to be controlled by the circumstances of your life. Visit them at wealthempowers.com. That's WEALTHEMPOWERS.com. Come and meet Dr. G and Kevin at the Investor Business Forum. Oh, one last thought. Isn't it time for you to stop making a living and start making a life? Call Dr. G and Kevin at 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645.